Welcome to Bunnyborough PH, where we share our personal favorite stories from Reddit each week. Here's our top 3 true, off my chest, and confessions from Reddit. Number 3.
I, 35 male, have been with Abby, 35 female, for 13 years now. Every day that goes by, I love her more and more, and we're even expecting our first baby. For the holidays, we always stay 2-3 months visiting my wife's family. But the problem is that this year, all the family was really excited, saying that Alan is coming. In all the years in the family, I never heard an Alan, and my wife didn't even care about it. So I thought it was just some cousin. But the famous Alan was my wife's ex and first love. The man lives in Europe, but Abby's family still have contact with him and even invited the man to the house now he's in the country. I try to get along with Alan, but the man just ignores me and takes every chance to get closer with my wife, making jokes or talking about the past. I didn't take it personal because I don't want to look jealous, but lately he has been coming every day to visit the family, and Abby's family started comparing his accomplishments to mine. They're all big fans of Alan, and I honestly feel jealous of that because they're treating him better than me. 2 days ago, I heard my mother-in-law and brother-in-law talking about how nice it would have been for Abby to stay with Alan because he's a smart man. What hurt me the most was hearing my brother-in-law say that he can try to get Alan and Abby back together, and my mother-in-law just laughed, saying that it would be good to go on a trip to Europe every year and not to the countryside with the peasant. Talking about me because I live in a farm with my wife, just because she always dreamed to live in that kind of quiet environment. In fact, now that I'm no longer blindfolded, I'm starting to notice how my brother-in-law makes too many comments to my wife about how great Alan is, although Abby never says kind things about Alan, and I think she even treats him like he's a child. I don't feel comfortable being here, knowing that they see me as a dumb peasant, and it's horrible to see how they try to include Alan in the family when they still treat me like I'm just a casual boyfriend of Abby's. But my wife only sees her family these months of the year, and I don't want to ruin that or put that kind of stress on her since she's pregnant. I feel like I'm in some kind of rom-com, but I'm in the role of the bad husband the protagonist leaves for the handsome CEO, haha. I decided to talk with Abby about what I heard. We were in our room, and I talked about what her mother and brother said as calmly as possible. But the moment I finished telling everything, Abby just kissed my forehead and ran with her pregnant belly out of the bedroom to literally yell at everyone in the living room. No one spoke beside an aunt who tried to justify them by saying that they were just making jokes, to which I replied that they were uncomfortable and disgusting jokes at some point. Abby told her mother something like, "Whether you like it or not, I'm married to this man. I'm going to have this baby with him and many more, so shut up and bear with it." Then my wife yelled at her brothers and went with them to talk in private. My brother-in-law talked with me and admitted that they were only doing that because they believed I was forcing Abby to marry and live in a farm far away from the family, when it was actually Abby's idea to get married in private and live in the farm. So all this years, it has just been a misunderstanding. The 3 brothers apologized to me and were really embarrassed about their behavior, saying they only invited Alan to mess with me. After that, most of the family members apologized to us. Abby told everyone that she doesn't want to see Alan in the house anymore while we're here. She's not going to forbid them to talk with him, but doesn't want to see him near her because it's uncomfortable. And Mile tried to complain, but Abby just said, "Shut up, Mom," and left the living room with me. In the bedroom, Abby confessed to me that she also felt uncomfortable, but since Alan is a friend of the family, she preferred not to say anything other than throw passive-aggressive comments at him. For example, after New Year's, we were all eating and Alan stroked her belly without asking, to which my wife said, "Do it again and I'll bite you," so he never did that again. Abby even said that in an opportunity, she actually talked with Alan and told him that she dislikes being touched by other people, but Alan said she was overacting and left her talking alone. I feel really stupid for not noticing how uncomfortable my wife also was feeling, because after that is when she stayed most of the times. In the bedroom, when Alan was in the house with the excuse she was tired because of the pregnancy. Just out of curiosity, I asked her why she broke up with Alan if he's such a cool man, because I'll admit it, he's really charismatic, and Abby told me that he always treated her like if he knew everything and explained things that she already knew every time they talked. Abby never felt the need of talking about that relationship because it wasn't relevant, and she sees me as her first love and not Alan. I apologized to Abby for not noticing how uncomfortable she was and only looking at my own feelings without talking about it as a couple, and Abby also apologized for the same. We promised to communicate this kind of thing to each other no matter what. We went on a date together, and when we came back, my mother-in-law looked very unfriendly, but she apologized to my wife, to which Abby said she should apologize to me. So mother-in-law and I talked for a while alone, and although I'm still upset, we promised to at least be civil with each other for Abby and the baby. We decided to the next time stay in one of my hotel rooms while we're here. Even if it's a 3-hour drive, it would be better for us to be comfortable, and 3 months in my in-laws' house was always really tiring, so it's something we should have did earlier. For now, Alan is not longer in the picture because yesterday, I got his number to send a message clarifying why he can't come back and why I don't want him near my wife. The man just blocked me without answering. I guess he understood, but if he didn't, I don't have any problem in going to talk about it face to face.
Number 2.
My dearest friend in the world is a man named James. The first time I met him was on the playground at school. He saw me sitting alone under a tree and came over to ask me if I wanted to play with him and his friends. I said no, but he noticed I was reading a book about the solar system. So he sat down next to me and asked me which planet I thought would be the coolest to visit. We were inseparable from that point on. When we finally reached the awkward teenage years and dating became a thing, he asked me to the first school dance, and I said yes. We sort of started dating by default. After about 8 months of identity crisis over this, I decided to muster up the courage to tell James. Before anyone else. I didn't know what to expect. I was terrified. I went over to his house, trembling. He opened the door and hugged me, and I came in. I was so scared we sat down, and he looked at me for a second before putting his hand on mine and asking me what was wrong. So I tried to tell him. I just froze in place. I asked him if he was mad, and he just laughed and told me he loved me the way I was, and this was the way I was. We stayed best friends after that. We never actually had a breakup talk, but we did start to date other people. He promised to stay in touch, but I didn't know if that would happen. Well, it did. Obviously, it wasn't like before, but he made sure to call me every week just to check up on me and see how things were going. During my junior year, my parents found out that I was gay. They did not react well, and I was basically kicked out of our home. I later found out from my mom that he had also gone and confronted my parents, stood up for me, and told them they should be ashamed of themselves, and if they were willing to lose their daughter over this, they were unfit parents and not the second family I thought you were. My parents worship him, so this was effective. Years went by. He got married. I got a long-term girlfriend. We stayed close the entire time. We saw each other a lot less, but it was still great every time he visited, and we had frequent texts or calls. I looked forward to his visits all year. And then tragedy struck. His wife divorced him. He came back home, so I saw him a lot more. Obviously, he was crushed, but we got through it together. And then, I got the diagnosis. At age 27. Cancer. This experience has changed me and my outlook on life more than anything else that's ever happened to me combined. He sits there and holds my hand in silence, so I won't be alone until the doctors tell him it's time to go. Then he does it again the next day. If I even casually say something like, if I get better, he'll immediately interject. When you get better. He just won't give up on me. The only other person who is there like this is Mom. Then about a month ago, Mom was a little more direct. After James left one evening, she told me, "Baby, in all my years on this earth, I've never seen anyone love anybody like that boy loves you. I know you don't like it when I talk about this, but trust me, if you let him go again, you're gonna regret it forever." I don't know what has changed, but this time when she said that, I just knew she was right. Every relationship I've ever been in has had some problem or thing that has to be worked on. In general, I find the idea of being with a man disgusting, but I don't find it disgusting with him. I want him to know that I want him with me, by my side, forever. There's nowhere I'd rather be than wherever he is, doing absolutely anything. But I'm scared to tell him, because I don't know what's going to happen. If I don't make it, would it have been kinder to just keep this to myself? So tonight, I told James. I told him everything. I've never been so happy. He came into my room this evening like he always does. I asked him to stop and just come sit with me because I wanted to talk to him. He nodded and came and sat down next to me. "What's up?" he asked. At IT took me a bit to gather myself. I kept getting distracted by his eyes. How he looks at me sometimes, I don't know how to describe it. I told him, "I love you." And he just kind of laughed and touched my hand before casually responding, "Oh, I know that, I love you too." In retrospect, this wasn't the best way to start, I guess, since we've said that enough with a different understanding that he didn't get what was happening. And then I did it. I told him everything. I told him about all the times in the past I'd thought about just marrying him despite my sexuality. I told him my favorite memories of him and how they make me feel. I told him he'd always been my best friend and the person I trusted the most. I told him I made a mistake and I should have chosen him. He basically froze. James always knows what to say, so this was a little unnerving to me. I started to ask him if everything was all right, but before I could finish, his expression broke. He exhaled into a weak but incredibly tender, quivering smile, and he just reached out and pulled me into a hug. I buried my head in his chest, and his arms just wrapped around me. I just melted into him. He was so gentle. It felt so easy. It felt so right. Then he started crying, and then I started crying. When he finally pulled away, his face was red from crying, but he just looked so happy. Then he finally looked right at me, and he just said, "You are the only thing I've ever wanted."
Number 1.
This Saturday, my son will have been sober for 18 months. He got his GED this year, and he starts at community college at the end of August. He finally has a job that I didn't get for him. Soon he will be moving into his own apartment, and he hasn't missed a single appointment with his therapist. He has done everything you would expect of a precocious 17-year-old who hit a rough patch after meeting with a particularly bad influence. He is 29. This is the point where I'm supposed to say that. Nevertheless, I'm still proud of him for turning his life around, getting off drugs and off the streets, staying out of trouble, and acting like a responsible adult. Maybe I'll throw in a reference to the prodigal son and kill a fatted calf for him. That's certainly what's expected of me. That's certainly what my son expects of me. He demands praise and forgiveness and a party and me to hug him and tell him it's all right. Demands me to tell him how proud I am that he's made something of himself. But I'm not, because he hasn't. Not in the slightest. His mother and I gave him every opportunity we could. She and I worked hard to give him a loving, stable, comfortable, supportive home. We were involved in his school. We introduced him to music and sports and culture. We fed him healthy meals. We played with him. Thanks to him, we got in the best shape we'd ever been in since our 20s, and we let him stumble and fall and make mistakes and get back up again. He started shoplifting at 15. The first time we caught him, we bodily dragged him back to the store, made him return the copy of Grand Theft Auto and apologize, and offer to pay for any damages. The second time we caught him, this time with a pair of shoes, we did the same thing. The third time, we started going to family therapy. Therapy seemed to go well, and after a few sessions, the therapist asked for a few one-on-one meetings with him. After 2 of those, the police came knocking on our door because he had concocted some story about how we were a religious cult who raped him for breakfast every Saturday, and the therapist actually believed him. Rational heads prevailed. We fired that therapist, and he went through 6 more in as many months until eventually we couldn't find anyone who would take him as a patient. By 16, he was drinking. Then we found pot in his bedroom and in our bedroom. He started leaving needles, bongs, and crack pipes where he knew we'd eventually find them, just to mess with us. I know this because he said so in those exact words. He had his first intervention and first trip to rehab that year. And his first relapse, he had to repeat a year of high school at 17, which meant he was now the ringleader of a group of other youngsters who saw him as this totemic mentor shaman who could hook them up with whatever they wanted. I'm also damn sure he started messing up with one of his gang's younger sister around then, but I had nothing to go on but my own instincts, so all I could do was tell her parents to keep an eye on her. No charges were ever pressed, and the family never spoke to me again after that. But they did pull both of their kids out of that school, and my son was furious at me for daring to not let him continue committing statutory rape. He decided to try for normal rape later on. While I was away, he spent an uncharacteristic night at home and on his best behavior. After his mother went to sleep, he followed her to her bedroom. He took a knife with him. He crept into the room, straddled her, put the blade to her throat, and slid his other hand inside her. I don't know exactly what happened next, but I know she was lucky the ambulance got to her before she bled to death. That I know if I'd been home, or if I'd caught him, I'd have killed him with my bare hands. The state tried my son as an adult. He pled out, but only after making his mother testify and smiling the whole time. She divorced me a month after his sentencing. I looked too much like him. She killed herself a year later. I would be a liar if I said I didn't blame him for her death, because I absolutely do. He was sober when she went to her room, sober when he pulled out his knife, sober when he climbed on top of her, sober when he raped her, sober when he stabbed her, sober when he ran, sober when he called his friends to brag, and sober when the police found him. When I made the mistake of visiting him after the divorce, he laughed and said she'd had enough of his dick that I could never satisfy her. When I made the mistake of visiting him after she killed herself, he laughed again and asked how it felt to have some prick take your woman away. They let him out after serving 3 years. He spent the next 6 years on the streets, in and out of rehab, on and off other people's couches, and would grace me every 6 months or so with a phone call demanding money. Eventually, I refused to talk to him unless it was to drive him back to rehab, and I stopped completely after he stole my wallet. My son has pretended to reform before. He has even convinced himself once or twice. But he always backslides, always relapses, always finds new ways to disappoint, always hurts other people for his own short-sighted benefit. I will not be there to pick up after him. I am through with him. I am through with his aunt. I cannot talk to her without being overcome with rage and shame as I see the stupid hope I used to have that my son would ever amount to anything. And I do not need any more disappointment and failure in my life. I am not proud of my son. I am sorry for inflicting him upon the world.
Leave your comment down below. And like and subscribe for more Reddit stories like this.